I perched on the precipice of my bed, the phone quaking violently in my grasp. My heart thundered like a relentless drum, echoing wildly within my chest. It was the lawyer, the very embodiment of intrigue and betrayal, stepping into the dimly lit room with an air of calculated confidence, their presence sending shivers down spines and raising the stakes to an unbearable crescendo. He revealed, with a gravity that hung in the air like a storm cloud, that my grandson, the very one who had vanished from my life, who had not uttered a word, sent a single text, or graced my doorstep in 5 agonizing years, was desperately trying to connect with me. In a moment of utter despair, he craved a meeting, a desperate summons that hung in the air like a storm cloud ready to unleash its fury. He declared it was a matter of utmost urgency. I laughed, a bitter sound echoing through the silence, as tears threatened to spill from my eyes. It was nothing short of a desperate urgency, a call to action that could not be ignored. In an instant, the world shifted, and there I stood, cloaked in the unexpected mantle of significance. Not merely as his grandmother, but as the formidable woman of unyielding resolve. But he was blissfully unaware. He remained blissfully unaware of the dark deeds I had already set in motion. And when the truth comes crashing down upon him, it will shatter his very soul. Gather around, for the tale I am about to unfold is one of intrigue and suspense, a story that will grip your very soul. It all started on a fateful day, a day that would change everything forever. 5 years ago, I stood on the precipice of possibility, my heart brimming with hope, unaware of the storm that loomed just beyond the horizon. My grandson, Leo, was the very essence of my existence, the light that pierced through the shadows of my life. In the wake of that horrific car crash, where fate cruelly snatched away his parents, my beloved daughter, and her devoted husband, I took him in, determined to shield him from the shadows of despair. He was but a mere child of 10. I sacrificed it all for that boy. The end of an era. My retirement. My sanctuary. My solace. My fragile oasis amidst the chaos. Even my sanctuary. In a desperate bid for his future, I sacrificed my own comfort, trading my spacious home for a mere shell, all to secure his place in that prestigious private school. Every morning I meticulously packed his lunch, my heart swelling with pride as I walked him to the bus stop. I endured the agony of arthritis in my knees, sitting through every school performance, those unforgiving chairs a testament to my unwavering devotion. And he loved me. Oh, how fiercely, how passionately, as if the very stars themselves conspired to bind our fates together in an unbreakable embrace. At least I was led to believe he did. But everything shifted the instant he crossed the threshold into his 21st year. He stepped into the hallowed halls of university, and in that moment I became a relic of the past, too old, too embarrassing, too poor to share in his triumph. His texts dwindled to mere whispers, then vanished into the abyss of silence. His visits dwindled from a weekly ritual to a monthly ghost, and finally to an agonizing silence. On the fateful day of his 22nd birthday, I poured my heart into baking a chocolate cake, the very essence of his desires. I stood there, heart racing, the clock ticking ominously as the shadows lengthened around me. I waited for him all day, each passing moment a cruel reminder of his absence, a silent scream echoing in the depths of my soul. He never appeared, leaving a void that echoed with unanswered questions and unfulfilled promises. Silence. The phone remained still, untouched, a haunting void where connection should be. No call, just the echo of anticipation fading into despair. No message, only an oppressive silence hung in the air, thick and suffocating, as if the world itself held its breath, waiting for the storm to break. It shattered my very soul. Yet, I stood my ground, fiercely defending him to my friends, despite the storm brewing around us. Oh, he's merely entangled in the relentless grip of his studies, I would declare. Ah, the wild and reckless nature of youth. A tempest of emotions, a whirlwind of choices, each more daring than the last. But I was ensnared in a web of deceit. To them, to the depths of my very soul. In a twist of fate, Leo had left the past behind, stepping boldly into a new chapter of his life. He cast aside the last remnants of his grandmother's influence, severing the ties that once bound them. The air crackled with the weight of his decision, a finality that echoed in the silence of the room. It echoes in my mind, the moment everything changed, the final straw that shattered the fragile facade of normalcy. It was Christmas, a time when joy and despair danced dangerously close, shadows lurking beneath the twinkling lights. With trembling hands, I crafted a scarf, each stitch a whisper of my affection, then encased it in glimmering gold paper that caught the light like a beacon of hope. Heart racing, I embarked on a seemingly endless bus ride across the city, my mind swirling with anticipation as I clutched the precious package, destined for the apartment I had unearthed in the depths of the internet. As I rapped on the door, it swung open to reveal him his expression, a tumultuous blend of surprise and annoyance. "You can't just show up like this," he snapped, the tension crackling in the air. Behind him stood a girl, tall and sleek, her presence amplified by the bold red lipstick and the click of her high heels echoing like a heartbeat in the tense silence. Her gaze pierced through me, a cold, disdainful sweep that stripped away my dignity, leaving me bare and exposed like a beggar on the unforgiving streets. "I told you, I don't talk to her anymore," she hissed at Leo, her voice dripping with tension, just loud enough for me to catch every word. He let out a heavy sigh, the weight of the world pressing down on his shoulders. "Gran." The clock ticks ominously, and this moment hangs heavy in the air. It is far from a good time. My gaze fell upon the gift clutched tightly in my hand, then shot up to meet his eyes, a storm of emotions swirling between us. In that electrifying moment, the truth struck me like a bolt of lightning. He had transformed, no longer the innocent little boy I once knew. He was nothing more than a stranger, a mere shadow in the tapestry of their lives. He emerged from the shadows, a figure cloaked in mystery, a stranger whose very presence sent shivers down the spine of the unsuspecting crowd. With a heavy heart, I placed the scarf on his doorstep, the chill of the night wrapping around me like a shroud as I turned and walked away, each step echoing the finality of my decision. Not a single tear fell. A profound void consumed me, an abyss of nothingness that echoed in the silence of my soul. For the next 2 years, silence reigned supreme. Not a whisper, not a trace of his existence reached me. It is not a birthday message, not a single call, not a whisper of concern. As I lay in the hospital, my hip shattered and my spirit crushed. And yet, despite everything, hatred eluded me like a ghost in the night. My heart was a prisoner, shackled by an unyielding love for him, a love that consumed every ounce of my being. Yet, love does not equate to foolishness. In a moment that could change everything, I made a decision. With trembling hands, I dialed the number of Mr. Henley, my lawyer for 3 tumultuous decades. In that very office, a place steeped in memories, where he had once navigated the intricate web of my husband's will a decade ago, our paths crossed once more. I laid bare my soul to him, revealing every secret, every hidden truth, as the weight of my words hung heavy in the air. My life hangs by a thread, my health teeters on the brink, and my finances spiral into chaos. And I declared, with a heart pounding and a voice trembling, that I was prepared to alter my will. His brows shot up, a silent gasp echoing in the charged air. "Are you absolutely certain, Maureen?" I nodded. A silent agreement hanging heavy in the air, the weight of unspoken words swirling around us like a tempest waiting to unleash its fury. Leo must be cast out, his presence no longer tolerated. He leaned in, his voice a conspiratorial whisper, and asked if I dared to redirect the inheritance to another family member, the weight of his words hanging heavy in the air. "Absolutely not. I demand it be directed to St. Clair's Children's Fund. Every single cent, a relentless pursuit of value, a battle fought in the shadows of greed and desperation. Every asset hangs in the balance, a precarious thread in a web of uncertainty. Every single property, a stage set for secrets and revelations, waiting to unfold their hidden tales. That boy is unworthy of even a single dime." Mr. Henley's fingers danced hesitantly across the keys, each stroke a deliberate echo of my choice, reverberating in the charged silence as he confirmed my decision not once, but twice. as if the weight of it hung in the air like a storm waiting to break. As the final copy emerged from the depths of the printer, I grasped the pen with unwavering resolve, my hands steady yet trembling with the weight of what lay ahead. It was as if the final page had turned, sealing away the tumultuous tale that once unfolded. The agony lingered, a relentless shadow that refused to fade away. Yet, an undeniable force surged within me. And then, in a twist of fate, something utterly bizarre unfolded. Just 2 weeks after sealing my fate with the new will, the phone rang, shattering the silence like a thunderclap. Once more, it was Mr. Henley, the harbinger of chaos, stepping into the scene like a dark cloud looming over the unsuspecting. His presence sent shivers down spines, a portent of the storm to come. "Maureen?" he uttered, each word dripping with tension. "You will not believe the shocking twist that unfolded today. Someone reached out to me, and the identity will leave you breathless." It was as if the answer hung in the air, unspoken yet undeniable, a truth waiting to be unveiled. I stood there, breathless, knowing that the question had already been answered before it even crossed my lips. "Leo!" He let out a heavy sigh, a sound filled with unspoken turmoil. "Indeed. He demands a meeting. He claims to possess a matter of utmost significance to unveil." My laughter erupted, a sudden burst that shattered the silence. It was undeniably crucial, a matter of life and death, a turning point that could shatter the very fabric of existence. Perhaps the conversation was destined to revolve around the house, a looming presence in the shadows of their lives. The Stocks. A tempest of uncertainty looms, a battleground where fortunes are forged and shattered in the blink of an eye. The Savings. A treasure trove of hope, a glimmering beacon in the storm of uncertainty. What will become of them? Will they withstand the test of time, or will they slip through our fingers like grains of sand? The stakes have never been higher, and the tension is palpable. The fate of our future hangs in the balance. In a twist of fate, Gran emerged from the shadows, her value resurrected in a moment of dire need. With a voice trembling with urgency, I commanded Mr. Henley to arrange the meeting. But only on my terms. The audacity, the defiance, a declaration that echoes through the very fabric of fate. At long last, the fateful day of the meeting dawned, shrouded in tension and anticipation. Clad in my navy blue blouse, the fabric clinging to my form like a second skin, I adorned my ears with shimmering pearl earrings that caught the light, each glimmer a whisper of elegance amidst the chaos of the day. The very ones my late husband bestowed upon me during our final anniversary, a moment forever etched in the shadows of time. I appeared as a woman wielding power, a master of my own fate. Not a grandmother, pleading desperately for affection. Leo strode in, draped in a designer jacket that whispered of luxury, his expensive shoes clicking ominously against the floor, a harbinger of the drama about to unfold. His eyes darted, a storm of anxiety brewing within him. Absolutely not, perfectly orchestrated. His lips curled into a smile, a flicker of mischief dancing in his eyes, as if the world around him had just shifted in an unexpected twist of fate. "Greetings, dear Gran." I tilted my head, a sudden jolt of realization coursing through me. "Greetings, Leo." Time has stretched endlessly, a haunting echo of absence. He attempted to weave a tapestry of small talk, each thread trembling with unspoken tension. I allowed him to unleash his words, each syllable dripping with tension. He unleashed a torrent of childhood memories, each one a vivid flash of laughter and tears, echoing through the corridors of time. I nodded, the weight of the moment crashing down around me like a thunderous storm, each heartbeat echoing the gravity of my decision. He inquired, his voice laced with an intensity that sent shivers down my spine, how I was faring in this tumultuous storm of life. A smile crept across my face, a flicker of light in the shadows of uncertainty. And then, the truth emerged, shattering the silence like glass breaking in the dead of night. With a sudden intensity, he leaned forward and whispered, his voice dripping with urgency. "So, Mr. Henley dropped a bombshell about the will. I I needed to know if we were still standing on solid ground. Before the storm brews and chaos reigns, there lies a moment of stillness, a breath held in anticipation. I cast my gaze upon him, the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air like a storm waiting to break. My gaze pierced through him, a silent storm brewing in the depths of my eyes. And in that electrifying moment, everything was laid bare before me. The deceit, the betrayal, the web of falsehoods that ensnares us all. The treachery unfolds. The insatiable greed, a ravenous beast lurking in the shadows, ready to consume all in its path. With trembling hands, I plunged into the depths of my handbag, emerging with a solitary, creased paper, its secrets tightly held within its folds. The chilling testament of my new will. I thrust it across the table, a silent challenge hanging in the air. "Read it," I commanded, my voice echoing with urgency. With trembling hands, he unfolded the paper, his heart racing as he began to scan the lines, each word a potential revelation, each sentence a harbinger of fate. His face drained of colour, a ghostly mask of dread. His mouth gaped wide, a silent scream caught in the throes of disbelief. But silence engulfed the air, a deafening void where sound should have been. "You're laying it all bare, exposing every secret, every hidden truth, as if the world is watching and waiting for the next shocking revelation," he stammered, his voice trembling like a fragile leaf caught in a tempest, each word a desperate gasp for clarity amidst the chaos swirling around him. "To the forsaken children, lost in the shadows of solitude," I uttered with a chilling composure. "Oh, how you once were, before you slip into the abyss of forgetfulness." His gaze pierced through the air, a storm of disbelief swirling in his eyes. "You're severing our connection?" "Absolutely not," I proclaimed, rising to my feet. "It was you, all you, who orchestrated this chaos. 5 years ago, a time shrouded in shadows and whispers. And then, with a heart pounding like a drum, I stepped into the unknown, leaving everything behind. I forged ahead, refusing to glance back, for in the depths of my heart, I knew that true freedom often demands the painful sacrifice of those who have already severed their ties with you. The instant I emerged from that office, a chilling gust assaulted my face, a harbinger of the storm that lay ahead. Yet, an unexpected warmth enveloped me, a sensation I hadn't experienced in years, igniting a flicker of hope amidst the shadows. It came not from joy, but from a deeper, darker place, a well of despair that threatened to swallow everything whole. It was never about revenge. It was a breath of relief, a moment suspended in time, where the weight of the world lifted, if only for an instant. At long last, I unleashed the raw power of my truth, a revelation that shattered the silence and echoed through the very fabric of my being. Yet, I shall not deceive. The days that followed were a relentless storm of turmoil and despair. That fateful night, I found myself ensnared in solitude at my kitchen table, my gaze fixated on a hauntingly familiar photograph of Leo. At that moment he stood there, no more than 11 years old, clutching a soccer trophy that gleamed like a beacon of triumph, his face ablaze with an uncontainable pride that seemed to defy the very limits of joy. I recalled the moment I unleashed a primal scream from the stands that day, a sound that pierced the air, echoing louder than any other parent's voice, a raw testament to the chaos of the moment. Oh, how I ache for that boy. The void he left is a chasm of longing, a tempest of memories swirling in my heart. Each moment without him is a cruel reminder of what once was, a haunting echo of laughter and warmth that now feels like a distant dream. I missed that boy, and the world feels darker without his light. But he was gone, vanished into the abyss of nothingness. The man I encountered in that office, a figure cloaked in mystery, his presence sending shivers down my spine, igniting a storm of emotions within me. That was a different soul entirely. As dawn broke, the piercing sound of my phone shattered the silence once more. It was none other than Mr. Henley, the man whose very name sent shivers down spines and ignited whispers in the shadows. "There's a dark secret lurking in the shadows," he whispered, his voice trembling with urgency. "Leo has been bombarding the office with calls, his persistence echoing through the halls like a relentless storm. His heart is heavy with turmoil. I anticipated that moment, the inevitable twist of fate lurking just around the corner. He demanded, his voice trembling with urgency, if the will could be undone, reversed, as if time itself could be manipulated to erase the choices made. That brought me to a standstill. After all that had transpired, the suffocating silence, the biting disrespect, the insidious manipulation, he still dared to believe he could waltz back in and mend it all with a single slick conversation. Absolutely not, I declared with fervour. That will remain precisely as it stands, unyielding and resolute. Silence hung heavy in the air, a pregnant pause that seemed to stretch into eternity on the other end. I delivered the words with a weight that hung in the air, echoing the truth I had spoken before. But wait, there's more. The revelation hangs in the air, thick with tension, as the truth teeters on the brink of exposure. My grip tightened on the receiver, a surge of tension electrifying the air around me. He's fighting back against the tide of accusations. What? I blinked, my heart racing as the world around me shifted in an instant. He has confided in another lawyer, a twist in the tale that sends shivers down the spine. He's on a relentless quest to unveil your supposed madness, to shatter the very foundation of your decisions, claiming you were not in your right mind when those changes were forged. In that fleeting instant, the air was stolen from my lungs. My own grandson, the very boy I nurtured and cherished, had the audacity to declare that I was mentally unfit. I sat there in silence, the betrayal crashing over me like a relentless tide, drowning my thoughts in despair. It had transcended the mere clutches of currency, spiraling into a realm far more profound. It was a tempest of power, a fierce struggle for control, and a blatant display of disrespect that echoed through the very air, igniting a firestorm of emotions. He's squandering every precious second, I declared, struggling to inject steadiness into my trembling voice. Every document, a testament to truth, stands unyielding in its validity. Every meeting unfolded under the watchful gaze of unseen eyes. There is no case. The silence hangs heavy in the air, a deafening void where hope once flickered. The truth, elusive and cruel, dances just out of reach, leaving only despair in its wake. Mr. Henley, with a heavy heart and a furrowed brow, reluctantly nodded in agreement, the weight of the moment hanging thick in the air. Yet, the relentless ache in my chest refused to be silenced. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting eerie shadows, I ascended to the attic, heart racing, and unearthed an ancient box of forgotten treasures. Within those walls lay the haunting echoes of letters penned by Leo, a ghost from my childhood, each word a whisper of the past, stirring emotions long buried. Dearest Granny, my heart beats for you alone, eclipsing all others in this vast universe of emotions. In a world where breakfast reigns supreme, your pancakes emerge as the undisputed champions, a culinary masterpiece that leaves all others trembling in their wake. One letter, then another, each stroke a whisper of fate, each word a tremor in the silence, building to an inevitable crescendo of revelation. Every moment at school feels like an eternity without you, a haunting reminder of your absence that echoes through the halls. Thank you for igniting the spark that makes me feel extraordinary. And yet another. The tension thickens, the stakes rise, and the drama unfolds in a whirlwind of chaos. How could I possibly survive in this tumultuous world without your presence by my side? With trembling hands, I pressed the pages to my chest, surrendering to the flood of tears that cascaded down my cheeks. Not due to my weakness, but because I had once clung to the delusion that I was his entire world. In that moment, I realized I had been reduced to nothing more than a mere signature on a will, a haunting reminder of my own insignificance in the grand tapestry of fate. That fateful night, a transformation ignited within me. In a moment of fierce resolve, I vowed to do more than merely shield myself. I would brace myself for the storm that loomed on the horizon, ready to confront whatever chaos awaited me. The following day, I summoned the courage to reach out to Mr. Henley, desperately seeking an appointment that could change everything. When I arrived, I was no longer the trembling old woman he had once known. I stood resolute, unwavering in my conviction. "Text! I demand a video recording," I declared, my voice echoing with urgency. He blinked, as if the world around him had just shattered into a million pieces, each fragment reflecting the chaos of his thoughts. A recording! Indeed, it is I. Whispers of the will echo through the dimly lit room, a heavy silence hanging in the air, as secrets long buried threaten to resurface, igniting a storm of emotions and unspoken truths. Unraveling the tangled web of my decisions, each one a dramatic twist in the unfolding saga of my life, every single word dripping with intensity, every haunting memory echoing through the corridors of time, every reason, a tempest of turmoil, a cacophony of emotions swirling in the shadows, each one more gripping than the last. And I demand witnesses in the room. He nodded, each movement heavy with unspoken weight. You're constructing undeniable evidence. I'm constructing a fortress of safety, I retorted, my voice laced with intensity. He seeks to cast me aside, as if I were nothing more than a fleeting shadow, easily forgotten, as if my sanity is slipping through my fingers, unraveling in a chaotic whirlwind of despair. Very well. Let us unveil to the world the undeniable clarity that resides within my mind. 3 days later, I found myself ensnared in the confines of Mr. Henley's office, flanked by 2 other legal assistants, the air thick with tension and unspoken secrets. A camera loomed ominously on a tripod, poised for the unfolding drama. The crimson light flickered ominously, and with a heart pounding like a drum, I summoned the courage to utter my words. Behold, I am Maureen Alcott, a name that echoes through the corridors of fate. At the age of 73, I stand at the precipice of life, a testament to the passage of time, each year a chapter filled with untold stories and unyielding memories. My mind is as sharp as a blade, unwavering and resolute. In a moment of profound reflection, I have altered the very fabric of my will, and the reasons behind this decision are nothing short of compelling. For what felt like an eternity, I poured my soul into the air, words cascading like a torrential downpour, with an unsettling stillness, with bated breath, every move deliberate, the tension thick in the air. In a moment fraught with tension, I spoke of Leo, how I brought him into this world, shaping his very essence with every heartbeat, every whispered word, every moment of despair and triumph. The journey was fraught with challenges, a tempest of emotions that threatened to consume us both. Yet, through the chaos, I forged a bond that defied the odds, a connection that would echo through the annals of time. How I laid everything on the line for him. How I languished in anticipation on those fateful birthdays. Oh, how the tears flowed like a river during that fateful Christmas. The air was thick with unspoken sorrows, and the twinkling lights only served to illuminate the depths of my despair. Each carol echoed with haunting memories, and the laughter around me felt like a cruel reminder of my own heartache. In that moment, the joy of the season shattered, leaving only the raw ache of longing and loss. How I stood at his door that fateful night, only to be cast aside like a mere stranger, my heart pounding with disbelief. I loved that boy, I declared, my heart pounding with the weight of unspoken truths. But love, oh love, does not demand that you pour out every last drop of your essence until you are but a shadow of your former self. As I reached the end, an eerie hush enveloped the room, thick with tension. Even Mr. Henley, with a gaze that seemed to pierce the very fabric of reality, appeared misty-eyed, as if the weight of unspoken emotions hung heavily in the air. "That's more powerful than any legal statement I've ever seen," he exclaimed, his voice trembling with intensity. I stepped out of the office, clutching the recording tightly in my purse, my heart racing as I braced myself for what was to come. I waited, the tension thick in the air, every second stretching into eternity. As fate would have it, 3 days later, a letter arrived, shrouded in mystery and anticipation. In a twist of fate, Leo unleashed a storm of accusations against me, alleging the sinister grip of undue influence, that someone had cunningly deceived me into severing him from the will. I erupted in laughter. Who was it that dared to weave a web of deceit around me? The harbinger of news. The postman approaches, his footsteps echoing with the weight of secrets untold. What fate does he carry in his satchel? Each letter, a whisper of destiny. Each package, a promise or a peril. The air thickens with anticipation as he draws near, the world holding its breath for the revelations he brings. The case was trivial, a mere whisper in the grand scheme of things, and deep down, I sensed it would fizzle into nothingness. Yet, the sheer audacity of his actions revealed a truth so profound, it shattered the very fabric of my understanding. This was never about love or family, the very essence of our existence, teetering on the brink of chaos, where love and betrayal intertwine in a dance as old as time itself. It was all about the money, the kind that could change lives, ignite passions and shatter dreams. And he was prepared to pull me through the filth, all for his insatiable desire. But he was utterly oblivious. Oh, but the tale does not end here. I am far from done, for what unfolded next would shatter the very foundation of all he believed he possessed. And I stood on the precipice, heart racing, poised to witness the chaos that was about to erupt. The legal envelope loomed ominously on my kitchen counter, a silent sentinel of dread, for an entire day before I dared to unveil its secrets. It was not fear that held me in suspense, but a gripping anticipation that clawed at my very soul. It was pure, unadulterated disgust. I was acutely aware of the secrets it held within its depths. A chilling proclamation that my very own grandson, the child who once dashed into my embrace after school, was now dragging me to court over my own fortune. As I plunged the butter knife into the seal, a chilling silence enveloped the room, and the words leapt forth, cold and razor-edged, slicing through the air with a haunting clarity. A desperate plea to challenge the very legitimacy of the will. He boldly asserted that I was engulfed in emotional turmoil, that an outside force had ensnared me in its web of deceit, that I bore the weight of a tumultuous past filled with cognitive struggles, a web of deceit spun with the finest threads of betrayal. He audaciously pulled Mr. Henley into this twisted narrative, insinuating that my trusted lawyer of 3 decades had manipulated me into submission. My hands trembled as I clutched the paper, a storm of emotions raging within me. Not out of fear, but from the sheer disbelief that I would ever witness this moment unfold before my very eyes. To be betrayed, not by a faceless stranger lurking in the shadows, nor by a cunning thief with a heart of darkness, but by the very essence of my own blood, my kin, the one I trusted most. I dialed Mr. Henley without a moment's hesitation, the urgency of the situation clawing at my insides. "We expected this," he declared with an unsettling calmness. Yet the tension in his voice betrayed a storm brewing beneath the surface. In a whirlwind of urgency, I have meticulously crafted a response, poised to accompany the video testimony that will soon be unleashed into the fray. I exhaled deeply, the weight of the world escaping my lips. "Thank you." But the weight of those words hangs heavy in the air, a fragile thread in the tapestry of fate. "Maureen, you stand innocent in this storm of chaos. He is merely lost in his own frenzy. He believed you would slip away silently, relinquishing all to him. But now the truth is laid bare, and the desperate throng lunges for every last shred of what they can seize. It all seemed to fit together, a twisted puzzle of logic. Yet the nights remained an unrelenting torment, shrouded in darkness and despair. The following week descended into chaos and despair. It began with an unsettling series of calls, each one from an unknown number, only to be met with silence as they hung up the moment I answered. The tension hung thick in the air, a prelude to something darker, lurking just beyond the veil of the ordinary. Then arrived the letters, not from lawyers but from Leo, each one a thunderclap in the silence, each word a dagger poised to strike. 3 of them, a trio of despair, each more harrowing than the one before. Letter the first. "Gran, what is this madness? I simply cannot comprehend. Why, oh why, are you doing this? What dark forces compel you to tread this treacherous path? In the shadows of our silence, a truth lingers. My heart still beats for you, despite the chasm that has grown between us. We must converse. I implore you. Letter the second. Beware. You are ensnared in a web of manipulation. Someone is weaving a dark web of deceit, poisoning your thoughts against me. Do not allow the poison of bitterness to destroy the fragile remnants of what we still hold dear. Consider the weight of her presence, the echoes of her love reverberating through the corridors of your mind. Consider, if you dare, the depths of her desires. Letter the third, a harbinger of fate. I refuse to allow this to unfold before my very eyes. You're teetering on the edge of a colossal blunder, and I refuse to stand idly by as the world crumbles around us. Rectify this before the clock strikes doom. That final moment brought me to a standstill. What do you mean, too late for what? The clock is ticking, and the shadows are closing in. The moment has slipped through our fingers like sand, and the weight of regret hangs heavy in the air. What fate awaits us now? Was that a dire warning, echoing through the shadows? A menacing whisper in the shadows? Uncertainty clawed at my mind, a relentless storm brewing within. I was lost, adrift in a sea of doubt. With a sense of urgency, I sent every detail to Mr. Henley, my heart racing as I inquired whether we required additional protection. "I'll document everything," he declared, his voice trembling with intensity, as if the weight of the world rested upon his shoulders. Perhaps, just perhaps, the installation of a security camera could prove to be a stroke of genius. In a world where uncertainty looms, one must prepare for the unexpected, just in case. That fateful night, I found myself ensconced in the shadows of my living room, the lights extinguished, as I gazed out at the haunting glow of the moon illuminating the darkness beyond the window. In the very confines of my own sanctuary, a chilling sense of danger loomed, suffocating every breath I took. And that was the moment it struck me. This was no mere legal battle. It was war. The air crackled with tension, and the ground trembled beneath the weight of impending chaos. Shadows loomed, and the cries of the fallen echoed in the distance, a haunting reminder of the battle that raged on. Every heartbeat was a countdown, every breath a prayer for survival. The clash of steel and the roar of... The following morning I picked up the phone, my heart racing as I dialed the number of an old friend, Agnes. She resided in a distant town, 3 heart-wrenching miles away. A gentle soul, a beacon of kindness, who had graced my life since the tumultuous days of teaching. "Agnes," I uttered, my voice trembling with an intensity that pierced the silence. "May I, in this moment of uncertainty, seek refuge in your presence for a few fleeting days?" Without a moment's pause, she plunged forward. "Gather your belongings, for the time has come to embark on a journey shrouded in uncertainty. At the train station, I shall await your arrival, heart pounding, breath held, as the world around me fades into a blur of anticipation and dread." By noon, I found myself ensconced in her sunlit kitchen, a fragile cup of tea trembling in my hands as I fought to quell the storm of nerves raging within me. "You did the right thing," she whispered, her voice trembling with a mixture of relief and disbelief. "Do not even think about feeling guilty." That boy, with a heart full of defiance, carved his own path through the storm of fate. Choices, like daggers, were thrust into the air, each one a testament to his rebellion against the world that sought to bind him. The weight of his decisions hung heavy, a haunting echo in the silence of his solitude. "You're merely crafting your own." Yet, the relentless ache in my chest clung to me, an unyielding torment that refused to fade. In the depths of my memory, Leo emerged, a mere child, innocent and untainted by the world's cruel hands. The torn flesh, the haunting chills of the night, the intensity with which he clutched my hand in that sterile dentist's office, a silent storm brewing beneath the surface. Where had that boy vanished to? Agnes gazed into my eyes, and there it was. The raw, unfiltered agony laid bare for her to witness. "Sometimes," she whispered, "we pour every ounce of our being into raising them, leaving nothing behind. Yet, the world itself elevates them as well, and it transforms them into a stranger, a shadow of the person we once knew." That struck a nerve, piercing through the facade with a brutal intensity. For 5 long, tumultuous days I remained by her side. In that tumultuous period, Mr. Henley relentlessly kept me in the loop, his updates a lifeline amidst the chaos. In a tense courtroom, Leo's lawyer unleashed a bold new argument, sending shockwaves through the room. In a moment of raw, unbridled emotion, I found myself altering my will, a desperate act of vengeance against the tides of betrayal. Yet, the evidence remained elusive, a ghost haunting their every accusation. Silence enveloped the scene, a chilling void where eyes should have been. No witnesses to the unfolding chaos, only shadows lurking in the corners of despair. In the midst of chaos, we clutched the video, the signed papers, and every document meticulously arranged, as if they were our lifeline in a storm of uncertainty. Yet, against all odds, they relentlessly pursued mediation. A clandestine gathering, shrouded in tension, before the storm of legal battle descends upon them. At first, I stood my ground, resolute and unyielding. But then, a wave of doubt crashed over me, forcing me to reconsider everything I thought I knew. So, if Leo craved a meeting, so be it. Let the storm brew. Let him gaze into my eyes and reveal the truth of why I faded from his world, only to resurface when my fortune was at stake. Mr. Henley orchestrated every detail with chilling precision. In the heart of the city, a neutral office space awaits, shrouded in anticipation and tension. It was just me, Leo, the imposing figure of his lawyer, Mr. Henley, and the court mediator, a silent witness to the unfolding tension. As the clock struck midnight, I boarded the train, the city looming in the distance, a siren call of lights and secrets waiting to be unveiled. I lay awake, the darkness wrapping around me like a suffocating shroud, my mind racing with thoughts that refused to quiet. Sleep eluded me, a cruel spectre haunting the edges of my consciousness. I scarcely touched a morsel, but I was prepared for the storm that was about to unfold. The following morning, I adorned myself with meticulous care, each piece of clothing a deliberate choice, as if the very fabric held the weight of destiny. In a world where colours clash and chaos reigns, I stand adorned in a pale pink blouse, the fabric whispering secrets of elegance. My grey slacks cling to me like shadows, while my silver hair, a testament to battles fought and won, is pinned back with precision, a crown of resilience against the storm of life, neither too gentle nor too fierce. I yearned to embody every facet of my true self, to reflect the very essence of what I was. A woman, once consumed by love's fervour, now stands shattered, her heart torn asunder by the cruel hand of betrayal. I stepped into the conference room, and there he stood, a figure cloaked in tension and anticipation. Leo. Sitting across the table, he scrolled on his phone, oblivious to the storm brewing around him, as if this was merely another mundane chore in a world teetering on the edge of chaos. He gazed upward, his eyes wide with disbelief. Gran. I nodded. A single, deliberate motion that echoed with unspoken weight. Leo! We stood there, the air thick with unspoken words, our arms frozen at our sides. No embrace, no comfort, just a chasm of silence between us. Our faces were devoid of joy. With a voice that trembled with gravity, the mediator unveiled the intricate tapestry of the process, each thread woven with tension and anticipation. With a grave expression, Leo's lawyer launched into a dramatic declaration, revealing their profound worry for my fragile state of mind. In that electrifying moment, Mr. Henley thrust the USB drive across the table, a silent challenge hanging in the air. Behold, the complete and unfiltered account of events, captured in its entirety. Unmistakably clear, a relentless flow, and forged by choice. For the love of all that is dramatic, do yourself a favour and witness it before you plunge deeper into this absurdity. Leo's lawyer stood there, a palpable tension radiating from every fibre of his being, eyes darting, heart racing, as the weight of the moment bore down upon him. We stand on the precipice of uncertainty, teetering on the edge of doubt as the shadows of ambiguity loom large. The question hangs in the air, heavy and foreboding. Are we truly certain that? Are you absolutely certain? Mr. Henley snapped, his voice laced with tension. And if this spirals into the courtroom, the judge will undoubtedly take notice. The mediator let out a heavy sigh. the weight of the moment hanging in the air like a storm cloud ready to burst. Let us pause for a moment, a brief interlude in the chaos that surrounds us. I implore both sides to scrutinize this material before we dare to move forward. With a heart pounding like thunder, Leo trailed his lawyer into the dimly lit hallway, each step echoing the weight of uncertainty that loomed ahead. I remained frozen in my seat. Serenity reigned supreme. 15 minutes ticked by, each second stretching into an eternity. And then, with a creak that echoed through the silence, the door swung open, revealing the unknown that lay beyond. Leo returned, shrouded in an eerie silence, the weight of solitude heavy upon his shoulders. His face, a canvas of turmoil and despair, told a story that words could never capture. Everything had irrevocably changed. The smirk had vanished, leaving only a chilling silence in its wake. Ah, the arrogance! A tempestuous force swirling and crashing against the very foundations of humility. He gazed, a storm of emotions swirling within him. Minuscule, he descended into the chair with agonizing slowness, as if the weight of the world pressed down upon him. What? You created a video? I had no idea. Silence enveloped the room, a heavy shroud of unspoken words hanging in the air. I stood there, paralyzed, my lips sealed tight, as if the very act of speaking would unleash a tempest of chaos. Nothing escaped my mouth. Not a whisper, not a sigh, only the deafening echo of my own thoughts. I bore witness to it. Everything, every last piece of it. Yet, I remained shrouded in silence. I had no idea the depth of my betrayal, he confessed, his voice trembling with raw emotion. At this very moment, the air crackles with tension, as if the universe itself holds its breath, waiting for the next revelation to unfold. Now that compelled my gaze to the heavens. Oh, you finally grasped the truth, I whispered, my voice trembling with the weight of revelation. It was only when the last remnants of your inheritance vanished into thin air that the truth struck you like a thunderbolt. You never truly cared. He swallowed hard, the weight of the moment crashing down upon him like a tidal wave, leaving him gasping for breath in the suffocating silence. Forgive me, for the weight of my words hangs heavy in the air, a haunting echo of regret. And in that fleeting instant, it materialized before my eyes once more. That boy I had painstakingly raised, with every ounce of love and sacrifice, now stood before me, a tempest of emotions swirling in his eyes. But alas, the hour had struck, and the moment had slipped through their fingers like sand in an hourglass. Because some things are simply beyond comprehension, lurking in the shadows of our understanding, waiting to unravel the very fabric of our reality. What you have witnessed is forever etched in your mind. In a world where every move is fraught with consequence, actions unfold like a tempest, each one more electrifying than the last. There is no turning back. He gazed upward, a flicker of hope igniting in his eyes. Is there truly any hope left to mend this shattered situation? I locked my gaze with his, unyielding as iron. Indeed, I proclaimed. He leaned forward, a storm brewing in his eyes, as the tension in the air crackled like electricity. Discover the art of survival. For you shall navigate this world devoid of my riches. The air in the room froze, a heavy silence descending like a shroud after I uttered those fateful words. In that fleeting moment, Leo stood frozen, a statue of disbelief. His gaze pierced through me, a silent storm brewing in the depths of his eyes. As if the very essence of my words eluded him, slipping through his fingers like sand in an hourglass. But he did. Oh, the audacity, the sheer disbelief. How could he? The world trembled at the revelation. He stood there, heart racing, grappling with the unfathomable truth that loomed before him. Denial clung to him like a shroud, refusing to let go. I rose to my feet. The meeting has come to a dramatic close, I declared with fervour. The mediator's gaze darted back and forth, tension crackling in the air like a storm about to break. Shall we plunge into the depths of formal mediation? Mr. Henley, with a furrowed brow and trembling hands, seized the scattered papers before him, each one a harbinger of fate, as the weight of the moment pressed down like a storm cloud ready to unleash its fury. There is absolutely nothing left to mediate. My client has laid bare her intentions, a revelation that sends tremors through the very fabric of our dealings. We shall rise to the occasion, ready to confront any future court filings that may dare to challenge us. Leo's mouth gaped wide, a silent scream caught in the depths of his throat. And then, with a finality that echoed through the silence, it was closed. His lawyer reached out, a gentle touch on his arm, but he recoiled, a storm brewing within him. I arrived with a burning desire to set the world ablaze with justice. Leo's voice thundered through the air, rising in intensity. No, you arrived here to ensure you weren't cast aside in the shadows of oblivion, I declared, my voice unwavering, yet a storm brewed beneath the surface. Ah, but there lies a chasm, a stark divide that cannot be ignored. With a sudden, forceful motion, he thrust himself away from the table, the tension crackling in the air around him. Is this truly the end? You're severing our connection? After all that has transpired? All that exists? All that exists. I recoiled, disbelief coursing through me as I shook my head, each movement heavy with the weight of the moment. I stood by your side, cradling your sorrow as the world crumbled around us, the weight of your mother's absence hanging heavy in the air. In the relentless grind of double shifts, I sacrificed my very soul, all for the fleeting chance that you might embrace the elegance of piano lessons. I surrendered my sanctuary, my sacred space, when fear gripped you in the shadows of the night. You were my entire world, the very essence of my being, and you turned your back, leaving me in the shadows as if I were nothing at all. Leo's eyes widened in disbelief, and in that moment, I beheld the raw agony reflected in his eyes, a haunting glimpse into a soul tormented by despair. Yet, the agony cannot erase the haunting echoes of 5 years spent in silence. I stormed out of that office, my heart pounding, refusing to glance back at the chaos I was leaving behind. Mr. Henley and I strode down the street, our footsteps echoing like thunder in the tense silence that enveloped us. You did well in there, he declared, his voice heavy with unspoken tension. I swear, it wasn't for the theatrics, I insisted. I did it. I had to confront him, to gaze into his eyes and unleash the words that had been trapped within me for years, begging for release. He nodded, a slow, deliberate movement that seemed to echo in the charged silence, as if the very air held its breath in anticipation of what would come next. Shall I brace myself for the impending hearing? No, I said, my voice trembling with the weight of defiance, a storm brewing in my chest, ready to unleash chaos upon the unsuspecting world. Let us linger in this moment, suspended in time, as anticipation hangs heavy in the air. He stands at the precipice of decision, teetering between dropping the case and plunging into an even deeper chaos of his own making. And lo, I was indeed correct. Just 2 days later, the phone rang again, shattering the silence with its ominous tone. But it came from someone else entirely. It came from a reporter, a harbinger of truth cloaked in urgency, Mrs. Alcott. The voice pierced through the silence, echoing with an unsettling urgency. From the depths of the Beacon Times I emerge. I've been compelled to reach out to you about a gripping tale we are delving into. In a gripping tale of betrayal and intrigue, a local man named Leo Alcott finds himself ensnared in a web of deceit as he dares to challenge his grandmother's will, all while the shadow of credit fraud looms ominously over him. My chest constricted, a vice of dread tightening its grip. Credit fraud, indeed, the voice declared, echoing through the silence like a thunderclap in the night. In a startling revelation, we have unearthed a series of transactions linked directly to your name. In a world where online purchases and credit applications intertwine, a dark shadow looms as one transaction is ominously flagged by a financial institution, raising the chilling spectre of possible elder abuse. I clutched the edge of my counter, my heart racing as the tension in the air thickened around me. Are you implying that he has been wielding my name like a weapon? Indeed, we hold that conviction, ma'am, and so, the moment has arrived we're calling. With your gracious consent, we are compelled to pursue the truth and solidify the particulars that hang in the balance. My knees trembled, as if the very ground beneath me had turned to quicksand. "I must call you back," I whispered, my voice trembling with urgency. I slammed the phone down, heart racing, and dialed Mr. Henley without a moment's hesitation. "Leo." "He used my identity," I gasped, each word a struggle for air. "He has been stealthily forging my identity, opening accounts in my name, a betrayal that cuts deep." In the heavy stillness, a breath was drawn, deep and trembling, as if the very air held its breath in anticipation. "We are heading straight to the police." On that fateful day, we plunged into action and filed the report, the weight of our decision hanging in the air like a storm brewing on the horizon. With trembling hands, I surrendered each letter, every peculiar bank notification I had carelessly dismissed, and every fragment of mail that bore my name yet held no clarity. The weight of the unknown loomed heavy in the air, a storm brewing just beyond the horizon of understanding. The police, with furrowed brows and steely resolve, plunged into the depths of the matter, leaving no stone unturned, for this was not a trivial affair. And thus the bank too fell into the abyss of chaos. It was revealed, in a twist of fate, that Leo had not merely severed our emotional ties. For a whole year he had been siphoning my finances, a thief lurking in the shadows of my trust. The betrayal cut deeper than I ever dared to imagine. But instead of crumbling into despair, a fire ignited within me, and I was consumed by rage. A simmering storm of quiet, determined rage surged within me, a haunting echo of the anguish I had endured since the day my husband was ripped from my life. No longer do I linger in the shadows, a pitiful figure, pleading for mere crumbs of affection. I was a woman who deserved so much more than this. The injustice of it all. How could the world be so cruel? I was meant for greatness, yet here I stood, trapped in a life that was never meant for me. Just 1 week later, the ominous call came. Leo found himself ensnared in the chilling grip of the police. In a world where trust is shattered, a dark web of deceit unfolds. Fraud investigation ignites a relentless pursuit of truth. Identity theft lurks in the shadows, preying on the vulnerable, while the sinister spectre of elder exploitation casts a long, chilling shadow over the unsuspecting. The stakes are high, and the clock is ticking as the battle against these nefarious forces rages on. His court case against me. The very air crackles with tension, a storm brewing on the horizon of justice. Withdrawn. The decision strikes like a thunderclap, echoing through the silence of uncertainty. Not a word, not a whisper, only an oppressive silence hanging in the air. Mr. Henley, with a voice heavy with finality, reached out to me after the storm had settled, the echoes of decisions still ringing in the air. "Are you absolutely certain you wish to forego the pursuit of damages?" "Absolutely not," I declared with unwavering conviction. "He will bear the weight of his actions, while I shall soar unburdened." But that was far from the end. But then, just a few days later, the unexpected arrived in the mail, shattering the calm of the ordinary day. A letter from Leo, shrouded in mystery, and laden with unspoken truths. It stood apart, a stark contrast to the mundane, a harbinger of the unexpected. This one was penned by hand, a testament to the raw, unfiltered emotion that spills from the page. There it lay, an empty void, no envelope to be found. Behold, a mere sheet of paper, crumpled and creased, bearing the trembling strokes of a pen that quivers with uncertainty. Gran, I find myself utterly speechless. I have utterly failed. I believed that wealth could mend the fractures of my life. In a desperate bid, I clung to the fragile hope that I could mend the shattered remnants of our relationship with mere numbers, cold assets, and empty promises. But now, the truth unveils itself before my very eyes. What you truly desired was never the cold, hard cash. It was I, standing at the precipice of revelation, the weight of truth crashing down like thunder in the night. In your darkest hour, when the shadows loomed large and despair threatened to consume you, I turned my back and walked away. In a moment of reckless abandon, I invoked your name. I crossed lines, shattering the fragile boundaries that once defined me. Your forgiveness was a gift I never earned, a mercy I could scarcely comprehend. I still do not. But I am utterly, devastatingly sorry. Not because I lost the money, but because the very fabric of my existence has been torn asunder. For I have lost you, and the world has crumbled around me. And I fervently hope, one day, you can recall me as the boy who ignited your laughter, not the man who shattered your heart into a million pieces. With trembling hands, I devoured the words not once but twice, each syllable echoing in my mind. Then, in a moment heavy with unspoken emotions, I folded the fragile paper and slid it into the box, a cryptic treasure chest filled with the echoes of his childhood letters. Not due to any act of forgiveness, but because that tumultuous chapter, at long last, demanded to be closed forever. For good, the finality of it echoes through the air, a declaration that reverberates with the weight of destiny itself. I awoke in the dead of night, the sky a pitch-black canvas beyond my window, shrouded in an eerie silence. The letter from Leo lay on my nightstand, its edges frayed and tattered, a testament to the countless times I had dared to unfold and refold its haunting words. A tempest raged within me, urging me to rip it to shreds and cast it into the abyss. Echoes of a distant past reverberated, a haunting whisper of his small voice, lingering like a ghost in the shadows of memory. "Gran, will you please tuck me in? The shadows are creeping closer, and I need your warmth to shield me from the darkness that lurks just beyond the door." I forcefully cast the thought away, my heart racing as I slipped into my clothes. Cozy cardigan clinging to the body, resilient shoes ready to face the storm. Today, I found myself at the fateful doors of St. Clare's Children's Fund, where destinies intertwine and lives hang in the balance. At long last, the moment had arrived. The donation that had taken the place of Leo in my will was finally being processed, and the director, with an air of urgency, insisted on a personal meeting. What could this mean? The tension hung thick in the air, a storm brewing on the horizon of my fate. The taxi ride hung heavy in the air, a suffocating silence enveloping the two passengers like a shroud, each tick of the meter echoing the unspoken tension between them. As we approached the crumbling facade of the ancient brick edifice, a wave of trepidation washed over me, freezing me in place at the ominous gate. Within the confines of the courtyard, a scene unfolded, children's books scattered like forgotten dreams, while the innocent laughter of children playing tag reverberated against the cold, unyielding walls, a haunting melody of joy and fleeting youth. In a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, a girl with pigtails stumbled, her knee meeting the unforgiving ground with a harsh scrape. Gasps echoed around her as she fell, but just as despair threatened to engulf her, a boy rushed forward, his hand outstretched, ready to lift her from the depths of her misfortune. The sight constricted my throat, a visceral reaction to the unfolding horror. In a world stripped bare, those children clung to one another with a fierce devotion, a bond so profound it eclipsed the hollow echoes of Leo's indifference towards me. The director, Mrs. Dawkins, met my gaze with a smile that held secrets untold, a glimmer of intrigue dancing in her eyes. "Mrs. Alcott, your presence here is nothing short of a revelation. Your generosity will unleash a tidal wave of transformation, altering the very fabric of countless lives forever." She guided me through vibrant corridors, alive with the hues of rainbows and the whimsical touch of hand-drawn stars, each step echoing with a haunting cheerfulness. We halted at a quaint library, where 3 children were ensnared in the gripping embrace of their books, voices rising and falling like the tides of a stormy sea. In a tense moment, one boy faltered over a word, the air thick with anticipation as the others held their breath, waiting for him to conquer the syllables that danced on the tip of his tongue. My eyes burned with an unbearable intensity. In the dim light of her office we gathered, hearts pounding, as the moment of truth approached. The final papers lay before us, a harbinger of fate. Just as I poised the pen above the paper, a sudden jolt erupted from my phone, vibrating with an urgency that shattered the silence. A number shrouded in mystery, lurking in the shadows of uncertainty. I turned my back on it, as if it were a ghost haunting my every thought. But it rang again, piercing the silence like a siren's wail, echoing through the air with an urgency that demanded attention. And once more, the cycle begins anew. With a dramatic flourish, Mrs. Dawkins extended her hand, signalling that I could seize it. As I crossed the threshold into the hallway, an electric tension crackled in the air, each step echoing with the weight of unspoken secrets and looming shadows. "Mrs. Alcott?" The voice resonated with a profound depth, carrying an air of authority that demanded attention. Detective Harris, the relentless force of the Financial Crimes Unit, steps into the shadows of deceit. "We must urgently inform you about the shocking developments in the investigation concerning your grandson." My heart pounded violently in my chest. "What is it?" "Speak now." New charges have emerged, sending shockwaves through the air. In a twist of fate, the shadows of deceit loom over Mr. Alcott, as damning evidence unveils his connection to a sinister fraud ring, preying mercilessly on the vulnerable elderly accounts. 2 accomplices have been taken into custody, their fates now entwined in a web of intrigue and betrayal. One is his girlfriend, a figure cloaked in mystery and desire, her presence igniting a tempest of emotions that threaten to unravel everything. "We demand your testimony." And a piercing shout erupted from the receiver, followed by a chilling wave of static. "Wait! What are you doing?" Silence engulfed the air as the line went dead. My eyes locked onto the empty screen, heart pounding like a drum in my chest. A ring of grander proportions. Companions in crime. Leo was a labyrinth of complexities, far beyond the surface I had dared to explore. My hands trembled violently as I stepped back into the office, the air thick with tension and unspoken dread. "Is everything truly all right?" "Mrs." Dawkins inquired with a softness that belied the storm brewing beneath her calm exterior. I struggled to control the tremor in my voice. "Merely a matter of police affairs. Shall we bring this paperwork to a dramatic conclusion?" With a slow, deliberate nod, she extended her hand, presenting me with the final form, a moment heavy with unspoken tension. I signed, yet my thoughts drifted into the abyss, lost in a tempest of distraction. Could it be that Leo now languishes behind bars? Was he truly safe? Did I truly care at all? As I crossed the threshold, a tempest of dark clouds loomed ominously overhead. The wind, a relentless force, yanked at my hair with an almost sinister intent. With a trembling voice, I dialed Mr. Henley, the weight of the detective's words heavy on my heart, ready to unveil the shocking truth that could change everything. He vowed, with a fervour that could ignite the very air around him, to reach out for the elusive details that hung like a dark cloud over their fate. "Remain composed, Maureen. The storm is upon us. In the grand tapestry of fate, you stand unscathed, untouched by the shadows of blame." As I approached the bus stop, a sense of foreboding enveloped me, the air thick with anticipation and uncertainty. Each step felt like a heartbeat echoing in the silence, a prelude to the unknown that awaited. But just as the bus loomed on the horizon, my phone erupted with a call once more. This time, "Mr. Henley." The stakes have never been higher. In a heart-stopping revelation, the detective grimly announced that the connection had been severed, all because the officers were hot on Leo's trail. They discovered him. But in a twist of fate, he slipped through their fingers, vanishing during a routine hospital evaluation. My legs trembled, quaking beneath the weight of an unseen terror. "Escaped." Indeed, whispers swirl in the shadows. A chilling thought takes root. He may reach out to you, igniting a storm of uncertainty. Tonight, the shadows whisper secrets, and the air thickens with dread. Do not, under any circumstances, open your door to anyone. The night is fraught with danger, and trust is a luxury you cannot afford. As the heavens opened, a torrential downpour began to cascade from the sky, each drop a harbinger of chaos. A bus screeched to a halt, water cascading around it like a tempest, and I stumbled aboard, a hollow shell of a person. As I journeyed home, the ominous warnings echoed in my mind, each one more haunting than the last. Secure the doors, for the shadows are creeping closer, and danger lurks just beyond the threshold. Shut the blinds tight, sealing away the world outside. As the sun dipped below the horizon, a menacing rumble of thunder echoed ominously through the night, heralding an impending storm. In a moment of quiet anticipation, I brewed the tea, yet it sat there, forsaken, untouched, as if waiting for a fate that would never come. I scrutinized each window latch, my heart racing as I did it not once but twice. In the oppressive stillness, the old clock's tick echoed like a heartbeat, each sound a piercing reminder of time's relentless march. At the stroke of 9 p.m., a deafening bang shattered the stillness, reverberating ominously from the back porch. I stood paralyzed, my heart pounding like a drum in the silence. Another deafening bang echoed through the air, shattering the silence like glass, leaving hearts racing and breaths held in suspense. A fist pounded against the door, echoing with desperation and fury. Gran! Oh, the very name sends shivers down my spine, a whirlwind of emotions swirling in the air. What secrets lie behind that familiar voice? What tales of yesteryear await us? Gran, open the door. I beg you, let me in. Leo's voice echoed through the air, a haunting melody that sent shivers down spines and stirred the very depths of the soul. With a crack of thunder, the lightning erupted, casting a haunting glow that revealed his shadowy figure lurking behind the veil of the curtain. The rain pelted down, drenching him to the bone, each drop a cold reminder of the storm raging within and without. His hair clung desperately to his forehead, eyes ablaze with untamed fervor. Oh, please, they're coming for me. Desperation claws at my heart. I implore you, lend me your aid. My hand trembled as I clutched the phone, the weight of the moment pressing down on me, poised to summon help with a single desperate call to 911. My mind was a whirlwind of chaos. Summon the authorities or dare to unlock the door. The haunting image of the boy, his small hands gripping the gleaming soccer trophy, clashed violently with the sinister visage of the man, coldly etching my name into the shadows of deceit. Gran, I beg you. I advanced, my heart pounding, mere inches from the door that loomed before me. My fingers grazed the lock, then hesitated, caught in a moment of suspense. Outside, the sirens shrieked, drawing nearer with an ominous urgency. In that heart-stopping moment, time froze, and I was thrust into a whirlwind of chaos. One fleeting second hung in the air, heavy with consequence, as the weight of my choice bore down on me like a thunderous storm. What would I choose? The world teetered on the brink of uncertainty, and I was the only one who could tip the scales. The sirens wailed with an intensity that pierced the very fabric of the night. Through the curtain of rain, the ominous red and blue lights flickered like a heartbeat, casting eerie reflections in the glistening puddles that pooled outside my kitchen window. And still, Leo pounded on the door, desperation echoing in every strike. Gran! Oh, the very name sends shivers down my spine, a whirlwind of emotions swirling in the air. What secrets lie behind those familiar eyes? What tales of yesteryear await to be unveiled? Gran! Oh, please, where can I possibly turn now? My gaze was fixed, unyielding, upon the lock, a silent sentinel guarding secrets untold. In that fleeting instant, my fingers quivered, drawn irresistibly toward it, as if the very air crackled with tension. Somewhere, buried within the depths of my soul, that fragment of my being the grandmother who lovingly prepared his lunches, who tenderly kissed his forehead as night fell, and who fervently prayed over his burning brow, still yearned to shield him from the world's cruel grasp. But then, like a thunderclap in the stillness of my mind, the hospital bills loomed ominously under my name. Behold! The credit card, a sinister spectre, maxed out without my consent, lurking in the shadows of my financial life. The chilling void that envelops my birthdays, a haunting stillness that echoes through the years. And there it was, the smirk plastered across his face in that lawyer's office, just moments before I obliterated his delusion of entitlement. I recoiled, my heart pounding in my chest. No, Leo, I whispered, my voice trembling with the weight of unspoken truths. The door you once shut has remained sealed for ages, a haunting reminder of what was left behind. In the aftermath of the deafening explosion, an eerie stillness enveloped the scene, as if the world itself held its breath, suspended in a moment of chilling uncertainty. I stood there, heart pounding, time stretching like an elastic band ready to snap. The seconds crawled by, each one heavier than the last, as anticipation gripped me in its icy fingers. I waited. In a heart-stopping instant, 2 officers burst into view, racing past my front window with an urgency that sent chills down my spine. They lunged at him, their bodies colliding with his just inches from the hedges, a dramatic clash that seemed to freeze time itself. He stood there, a silent figure, surrendering to the inevitable, his defiance extinguished in the face of fate. He fell to the ground, a crumpled figure in the mire, drenched and utterly spent. I stood in the shadows, heart racing, as the words of his rights echoed through the air, heavy with consequence. As they dragged him toward the car, his wrists shackled in cold metal, the air crackled with tension. As the sirens faded into the night, a chilling silence enveloped the air, thick with tension and unspoken fears. And then, with a gasp that echoed through the silence, I released a breath I hadn't realized was trapped within me. I was free. The chains of my past shattered, leaving nothing but echoes of a life once lived in shadows. The air crackled with the thrill of liberation, a sweet taste of rebellion coursing through my veins. Freedom, at last, was mine to grasp, and the world lay before me, vast and uncharted, waiting for my next move, utterly unshackled. The following days unfolded in a whirlwind of frantic reports and urgent phone calls, each one more intense than the last. The detectives, their faces etched with a mix of gratitude and urgency, expressed their thanks for my cooperation, as if my words held the key to unraveling a dark and twisted mystery. They whispered to me, their voices trembling with disbelief, that Leo had plunged into a treacherous scheme, ensnaring the most vulnerable among us, our beloved elderly, their trust shattered like glass. It's not merely I who stands alone in this tempest of turmoil. Deceitful schemes, shattered identities, pilfered futures. He was ensnared in a web of debts that spanned 5 cities, a shadowy figure cloaked in the guise of at least 3 false identities. In a stunning twist, the girlfriend revealed her true colours, turning against him in the heat of interrogation. I listened, heart pounding, as the words hung in the air like a storm waiting to break. I nodded, the weight of the moment crashing down upon me like a tidal wave, each heartbeat echoing the gravity of my decision. But my heart, once a vessel of torment, now lay silent, untouched by the pangs of sorrow. That fateful night, when he appeared on my porch, a tempest stirred within me, altering the very fabric of my being. I was not engulfed in sorrow. Fury did not course through my veins. I was finished, utterly and completely. The end had come, and there was no turning back. 2 weeks later, a letter arrived, its presence heavy with unspoken secrets and the weight of fate itself. This time, the ominous summons came from the court, echoing with the weight of impending judgment. Attention! This is an official proclamation. In a stunning turn of events, Leo Alcott found himself shackled by the weight of his own deceit, sentenced to a harrowing 3 years behind bars for the heinous crimes of financial fraud and the exploitation of the vulnerable elderly. Yet, a glimmer of hope flickered in the darkness, a tantalizing possibility of parole looming just 18 months away. I folded the letter, a heavy weight in my hand, and placed it in my bottom drawer, not nestled among his childhood notes, but isolated, a solitary secret hidden away. Some tales are doomed to fade, never finding a place in the sacred vault of memory. That fateful afternoon, I found myself drawn back to St. Clair's once more. In a burst of vibrant chaos, the children unleashed their creativity upon the garden wall, transforming it into a canvas of wild colours and untamed imagination. In a moment that felt like a scene from a gripping tale, a little girl named Yasmin dashed towards me, her small hand reaching out with an urgency that sent shivers down my spine. "Are you the mysterious woman who bestowed upon us the treasures of knowledge, the books that changed everything?" she asked, her eyes wide with disbelief. With a smile that masked the storm within, I grasped her fingers, squeezing them gently, as if to anchor us both in this fleeting moment of tenderness. "Indeed, my darling, it seems I am indeed." With a mischievous grin, she darted back to the wall, her heart racing as she prepared to complete the vibrant sunflower, each stroke a burst of colour in the chaos around her. Mrs. Dawkins strode forward, a steaming cup of tea clutched tightly in her hand, the air thick with unspoken tension. The donation has ignited a spark, propelling us into the thrilling launch of a scholarship program. We shall bestow your name upon the very first one, a tribute to your legacy. I erupted into laughter. How utterly generous of you. But perhaps it should bear the name of one destined to propel it into the future. Her lips curled into a smile, a fleeting moment that held the weight of unspoken secrets and hidden desires. Then perhaps the monumental fund. My eyes widened in disbelief, and then a laugh escaped my lips, echoing in the silence like a thunderclap. Oh, how I adore that. That fateful night, I stepped into the haunting silence of my desolate home. As I sat on the porch, cocooned in a soft blanket, the night unfolded its dark canvas, revealing the stars, each one a shimmering beacon of mystery, emerging one by one, as if summoned by some unseen force. In the depths of my mind, I grappled with the haunting echoes of all that had slipped through my fingers, and all that remained in my grasp. Tranquility reigns, a fragile whisper in the chaos of existence. Illumination pierces the shadows, revealing truths long obscured. A moment of revelation hangs in the air, electric and charged with anticipation. The weight of understanding crashes down, shattering illusions and igniting a fierce blaze of insight. Clarity emerges, bold and unyielding, demanding to be acknowledged. The stage is set, and the audience holds its breath, poised for the unfolding drama of enlightenment. And there it was, the electrifying realization that I had finally risen to my own defense, not born from malice, but fueled by an undeniable power within. For in the depths of passion, there lies a heart-wrenching truth. Love, at times, demands the unbearable sacrifice of release, and sometimes the lawyer's call shatters the silence, unleashing a tempest of unexpected relief. It unleashes the chains of confinement, a wild rush of liberation that ignites the soul.